Now, it's been reported that Kelly will be taking an extended break from WWE. Word backstage is she may not be coming back anytime soon, if at all. Now, I've always kind of liked Kelly up until last year when I developed a passionate hatred for her. I'll never forget that epic stare-off we had at SummerSlam. Now, there are some mixed feelings about this. Some are going to miss her, others are excited about this and believe this is a right step in the Divas division. Yeah, that's exactly what they said about the Bellas, and look what good that did. 2 weeks where the only Divas matches we've gotten were on NXT. Now, I don't know why it's so difficult for people to understand this. Regardless whether you think she was talented or not, the fact is she was a big name. She was over with the fans, and while she may represent everything the internet fans hate about the Divas, that doesn't mean she didn't appeal to any other demographic. Her leaving takes away some star power, and it's one less diva that people actually cared about. The most over divas now are the ones that aren't even wrestling. Now, am I saying Kelly leaving will kill the division? Not at all. They've lost far more valuable divas in the past, but to say that this has no effect at all is just ignorant. With AJ Lee bringing Psycho back to the WWE, it seems as though TNA suddenly remembered, hey, we have the original Psycho on our roster, and we got some hints of Mickie James possibly turning heel this week. She even played more of a heel role during their match, showing more aggression, taunting, and even yelling in the same way that she did when she was a Psycho. I doubt they're going to turn her Psycho again out of nowhere, even though it would be awesome if she did. That way she can show AJ how it's really done. But I'd be fine even if it was just one of those angry heels that thinks the world is against them. Either way, I just want to see that evil side of Mickie again. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from her. She's a great talent, the fans love her, but her character has been stale since a year after her face turn. She really hasn't shown much of her personality since then. Plus, it adds more possibilities for feuds. Yeah, she's had friendly feuds with other faces before. It's been a long time since we've seen what Mickie is capable of doing as a heel, and because it's been so long, it would be a fresh change. I'm surprised WWE never turned her heel again, so if TNA were to do it, that would be awesome. I'd really be interested in seeing how Mickie James would work as a heel this long after her first epic run. Finally, after 8 long months of holding down the division, Phil Kim finally dropped the belt to Brooke Tessmacher. This could only mean good things for the Knockouts. We were already starting to see exactly what I've been saying was going to happen. With Phil being out of challengers, the only thing left for her to do was to go after the Knockouts she's already defeated, which means that the other heel Knockouts that Phil hasn't challenged yet will remain off TV for even longer. TNA needed a face champion to freshen things up. For the longest time, it's been faces chasing after the heel champion. In the last 2 years, the only real face knockout that has gotten somewhat of a decent run was Mickie James. So most of the time it was the same knockouts going after the title, when the other contenders like Sarita, Rosita, and Angelina are never really in the title picture because of it. Now, I still think it would have been better for Velvet to be the one to end Phil's reign, since Phil screwed her out of enjoying her run, but I'm fine with it being Brooke, and I see a lot of other people are fine with it as well, which is good. I'm glad people can appreciate that someone that's worked hard to improve. But at the same time, I'm still scratching my head how most of those people are the same ones that despise everything that Velvet does. I won't complain about that right now, though. I'm just glad the belt's off Phil. Hope she doesn't try to do to Brooke what she did to Velvet. Brooke worked hard to earn this, and hopefully now things will start getting interesting again in the Knockouts division. I want to talk about the TNA Hall of Fame because I thought Christian was going to be in it, but his appearance turned out to be a disappointment. I mean, this was a big deal. Current WWE champion appearing at a TNA pay-per-view. Instead of hyping this up as much as possible, he got a poor introduction, the crowd gave him a crappy reaction, and even though he was a part of the video that he was presenting, they tried to ignore him in it as much as possible. I would have had no problem if he had been the one on the Hall of Fame either. Like most of the WWE rejects TNA is always signing, Christian is someone that actually made a difference. Yeah, he made his name in WWE, but the best years of his career were in TNA. And if there was anyone that TNA picked up directly from WWE that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, Christian is definitely at the top of that list. I guess WWE just put a strict limit on what he could do. Anyway, I recorded my TNA Hall of Fame predictions on Thursday, so might as well add them here. This wouldn't be a bad idea if TNA actually had people to put in their Hall of Fame. I mean, they've only been around 10 years, and anybody that could be in their Hall of Fame that isn't a WWE reject and never evolved into anything other than a midcarder is still there. I mean, you can pretty much guess everyone that's going to be inducted. Jeff Jarrett, Hulk Hogan, maybe Sting. He'll probably be one of the last ones inducted before Bound for Glory. And you know they're most likely going to have a celebrity wing too. Well, they're probably going to try and induct every celebrity that they've ever had. For some reason, I think Toby Keith is the most likely to actually be inducted. But if there's any celebrity that truly deserves to be inducted, it's gotta be Mr. Pac-Man Jones himself. I mean, really, remember how excited everyone was when he was finally signed? Or all the epic matches that he had? I mean, it wasn't until his debut that TNA really started getting good. He brought their ratings from a 1.1 all the way up to a 1.12. Or if anything, they should at least induct his entrance music to the Hall of Fame. I mean, his was probably the best entrance music ever. And they're obviously going to try and induct legends who are already in WWE's Hall of Fame. I see Mike Tenay, Taz, and Al Snow also being in there too. And what would a Hall of Fame be without the lovely knockouts? TNA has already forced most of their former knockouts into early retirement, so it would be the perfect time to induct knockouts like Taylor Wilde, Christy Hemme, and Tracy Brooks. Now, out of all the bad that could come out of this Hall of Fame, there is some good to this. On one side, whenever a former TNA talent that's currently in WWE decides to retire, they may not need to wait 50 years for WWE to induct them in their Hall of Fame. And now it's time for a new segment called Typical Piss Break. Divas Match. The objective to cover as many topics as I can before the Divas match runs out. Now, for the last 2 weeks, there's been no Divas matches on the main shows in WWE. A part of me is okay with that because it pisses off the people who suddenly expected everything to turn around without the Bellas. Now, I've said that I thought Caitlyn has shown more talent than Tamina has, and this match was my chance to see if I was right, and for the most part, I was right. They're both identical in styles, except Caitlyn doesn't do a chop every 5 seconds, and has a lot more moves to her arsenal. Her only problem is she's still a little green. Alicia Fox had just as competitive of a match with Beth Phoenix as Layla had at Over the Limit. Now, Alicia may have been a little on the botchy side, but I'm sure it's just ring rust. It's not like she always wrestles that way. Also, Scott Sanford's commentary was horrible. He said Layla was the one that ended the best title reign and that they had a rematch at Extreme Rules. According to the dirt sheets, Madison Rayne's crush is apparently someone named Tyler Zappernuck or something like that. To no surprise, Epico and Primo haven't been on TV since Rosamanda's gone in that car accident a few weeks ago. Melina Perez has a porn video that can be found at.
Thank goodness that lasted about 30 seconds. What do you mean, thank goodness?
Well, that's all the time for this week. Sorry about the lack of reviews, but you gotta admit though, WWE has sucked a lot lately. Plus, I have to make time to cry about the Bellas because that's all I do whenever I'm not reviewing Raw. Anyways, this has been the Weekly Women's Wrestling Report number 3. This has been MTO with the MTO More Review saying yada yada yada, blah blah blah, the end.